Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Brish Bhanu. Born and raised in Siripur, a small village in Patna district of Bihar, Bhanu works as a tax assistant in the Department of Income Tax, Government of India. Bhanu's educational pursuits saw him first going to Netarhat Residential School in Jharkhand, then DPS Bokaro, and finally to Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra, where he did his Bachelor's of Engineering in Information Technology. Bhanu is a prolific writer and poet in Hindi, having published his first collection of poems titled Asar Hone Tak, available on Amazon, and has strong views on sociopolitics and economic affairs. Welcome, Bhanu, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
First of all, thank you so much, Milind sir, Asha ma'am, and the whole Wings podcast team for inviting me here. It means a lot, sir.
You know, Bhanu, I recall the first time we met. I think that was a couple of weeks back. I think it was sometime in the month of September, when I saw three young men, chatting together, and they were carrying two boxes of coconuts. I think some 20, 30 coconuts were there in that. And I was wondering, what are these boys doing here? And out of curiosity, I walked up to you and just said hello and introduced myself. And we got talking. And, you told briefly about who you are, what you're doing, etc., etc. And that first interaction itself left a certain impression on me. And I said, a person like this should be invited as a guest on the Wings podcast, because Wings, as you know, is a platform that we have created to celebrate the stories of India's youth. And I'm so glad and happy that we are having this conversation and recording this podcast today. Why don't we begin this conversation, Bhanu, in trying to understand the job that you do or the role that you play at the income tax department as a tax assistant?
Yeah, sure, sir. So basically, our work in the department can be categorized in two parts. One is related to the SSC or the taxpayer, and the other is related to the department works. So in taxpayer works, we have to solve the query or some problem is there, some grievances is there. So we have to resolve the grievances indirectly. Like we have to, if taxpayer would like to transfer the jurisdiction, so we have to transfer the jurisdiction of his or her PAN, or if taxpayer filed his challan wrongly, so we have to correct the challan, or some rectification is required in terms of demand raised or some refund is there. So we have to rectify that within the given time frame. So this is the typical directly we can solve the taxpayer problems, you can say. And in other way, like we can also indirectly solve the taxpayer problem by if some taxpayer file like CP gram, so we have to resolve that. Or some taxpayer asks for RTI application, so we have to give the reply within the given time frame. So this is indirect method to resolve the grievances of the taxpayer. In department work, for a proper functioning and maintaining the the budget and all the stuffs, some reporting is there, like some central action plan, what should be it like, or some monthly report is there, expenditure report, or you can say the budget collection report. In such way, several reporting is there. So, and apart from this, like if taxpayer does not agree with our some decision, like some rectification, so he he may go further for in appeal in CIT appeal, or further he can go for ITAT, income tax appellate tribunal, or further from that he can go also to High Court or Supreme Court, as as the case may be. So some assessment is there, you can say. And apart from some search and seizure procedure is there. In common term, we people use raid, but it is the proper term is search and seizure. So it is also there. We have to perform search and seizure of person is also there. So this is the, you can say, our usual work or day-to-day work in our department.
Bhanu, as an income taxpayer, one of the big difference as a taxpayer I have experienced myself is there was a time, I think about 10, 12 years back, when at the time of the tax returns, a date, which was typically around, I think, end of July, 31st of July every year, we had to fill in the tax return form, take all the attachments, carry the whole bunch of papers, go to the income tax, ward office, wherever our PAN was registered. And we had to stand in a queue for hours just to submit a set of return documents. And we would come across very, very unfriendly people working in the department, as if they are the masters and we are the slave. And that was the typical experience one had 10, 12 years back. But then a sea change has happened today. What was an unfriendly process or experience where one had to engage with people in person, the entire process has transformed into a extremely user-friendly and a faceless interface through the online electronic portal that the tax department has made available for taxpayers like us. And let me tell you, I as a taxpayer salute the income tax department and the government of India to conceptualize, build, and operationalize this tax portal for taxpayers. I know there has been hiccups and problems on the way, but today it's such a seamless process. If I have all my data in hand, I'm able to file my return in probably under 30 minutes. And if all my data that has been submitted is correct, and let's say I have a refund due for my tax, what used to take a couple of years to get the refund is now just a couple of weeks. So there is a sea change one experiences thanks to the digitalization or digitization of the tax department. I mean, this is how the picture I see and experience on this side of the screen. I wonder, as a tax assistant, how do you see this when you are on the other side of the screen? The faceless income tax man whom we never get to see.
Thank you so much, sir, for having faith in us in income tax department. So we will talk on 2 points, like one is the digitalization and second is the faceless system. Okay, so digitalization is the need of hour, which I am happy that the government of India consider this as the most important tool to reach the or to maximize the awareness of the taxpayer. So in a way it became very efficient, like the current time most of the returns are online, and if you are above 85, still you can file the income tax offline if you above 85. Okay, so this is the most important step, like the online system. Because okay, those so second is like a faceless system. So before faceless, some corruption was there. Like if the assessing officer know the taxpayer, or the taxpayer knows the assessing officer, some back deal was there. Like you can say that like, yeah, some le de ke kaam. So that kind was that kind of work was there. But after faceless, like the assessing officer does not know personally the taxpayer, and the taxpayer does not know the assessing officer in a way. So nothing you can say corruption, or you can say the chances of corruption is very minimum now. Okay, so it is the most, you can say, the bold step, or you can say the most efficient step which I see in the income tax department.
Even what I experience as a taxpayer, a huge change in the mindset. कि पहले तो ये था कि डिपार्टमेंट हम लोगों को एक चोर की तरह देखता था, saying that I cannot trust you and the only way I can deal with you is to make your life difficult. And now the whole outlook has changed to that I trust you. What data and information that you have given, I believe that, and it's a trust-based system, which is a huge change in mindset. And I think it's a step in the positive direction. And for a country of 1 billion plus people, where I believe the number of taxpayers itself is very, very low even today, there is a huge incentive to be tax compliant and make appropriate disclosures whenever and wherever required. And if I do that, I get an extremely friendly experience of the tax department, and very rightly so. It's a fair process. But we young Indians like you, who are now the staff and the manpower of the income tax department, and in a very silent and a subtle way, modernizing the nation through use of technology. Uh, for a person like you, the journey started from a small place called Siripar in Patna district of Bihar, where you were born and you were raised. So why don't you walk us through uh, how was it growing up in that place called Siripur? What kind of place is it? If you can describe it, geographically and socially.
Yeah, sure, sir. As you told the audience that I was born and raised in Siripur. The nearest railway station is Taregna, where the Aryabhat had set the camp for to watch celestial bodies. Okay, so Taregna means counting of stars. So it is basically 10 kilometer away from the Siripur. And my grandfather used to work in Indian Railway, and my father was and is still in the state government services. My mother is a homemaker, and we are three brothers, and I am the middle one. So that time, most of the people do the farming part, and the transportation facility was there. So our education was in the Taregna, as I told earlier. So, and electricity was not that much, but we got like 3 to 4 hours in a day that time. And after school hour, I am very fond of different kind of some playing is there, like you can say gilli danda, or kancha, or you can say lattu, or patang. So I was good in all of those. So somewhere it helped me in co-curricular activity in the Netarhat residential school. So overall, the atmosphere of the village was very good and very competitive in a fair way, you can say.
What was the population of that place when you were growing up?
Yeah, not much, but 60 to 70 household was there, and a very peaceful atmosphere, you can say. Like people are hardworking and very, generous.
And what was the importance given to education in your family?
Yeah, so actually, the my as I told you that my grandfather and my father is in government service. So they put much focus on our education. That's why he got admitted us in a school in Taregna. Okay, that's where our primary education thing happened. So somewhere I am very grateful, or you can say thankful to my father and my grandfather that they put so much emphasis on the education part.
But how would a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old Bhanu travel every day from Siripur, crossing the 10 kilometers of distance to Taregna to go to school and come back in the evening?
Yeah, as I told you that the transportation was okay, not very good, or you can say not very bad. So it took 20 to 25 minutes from bus or auto. So this was like the daily routine, you can say. We the one auto was hired for the um, for the students of school, and the we daily go to the auto by auto.
Or how did Netherhart School happen to you? Because, you know, to be very, very honest, before I met you, and I want to admit that I did not know that a place called Netherhart existed in India. But when you said to me when we met first a couple of weeks back that you have done your high school education at Netherhart Residential School, I looked up and I found out that not only the residential school has a big history, but Netherhart as a place also is very unique uh, in the state of Jharkhand in India. So, why don't you walk us through uh, what this place is, and how does one reach there, and about the school, its history, and the 4 years that you went through high school education there. What sort of impact has that experience left on you?
Okay, so Netherhart Residential School, it was established in 1954 on the same day. The You can say the establishment of the Jharkhand state itself, that is 15th of November, and the nearest railway station or airport, you can say, is Ranchi, which is almost 150 kilometer away from the place, and you can reach there by directly by bus from Ranchi. It hardly take 4 to 5 hours. So and the first principal of Netherhart was Sir Charles James Napier. So that was in 1954. So the daily routine of Netherhart is like we have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and after that we used to do the self study part, and after that we have some physical exercise and training, some PT for 15 to 20 minutes, and it's I think uh, good way to start your day. So after PT, some you can say some cleaning and some basic hygiene in there. Uh, so we have to do all the stuffs by ourselves. No maid or no servants or no no other you can say household help is there. So after
The
that,
the the
some
50s 1950s of India, there were
yeah.
many schools that came up. I mean, the first thing post education, I remember uh, the leaders who got us independence from British rule first focused on education, and many schools in India then were founded on something called Gandhian principles. So was Netherhart on the same lines?
Yeah, you can say the nature art is also based on the Gandhian philosophy, and it basically believes in the Gurukul system, where you can say stay away from home. and we used to call our teachers Srimanji and the housemaster, and the wife of Srimanji we used to call Mataji. So somewhere it is different from the normal school, or you can say because it is like a welfare school for the state of Bihar that time. So it is based on Gandhian philosophy and the Gurukul system, you can say.
And your school also has a motto, right? A unique motto.
Yeah, yeah, it is Tat Deepa Viharat, be thy own light. That means like it can be better understand in this quote. Na to hum kamiye rajyam, na swargam na punarbhavam, kamiye duktapta praninam arti nashnam. It means, O Lord, I desire not kingdom, nor the heavens, nor even moksha. All I desire is to remove the suffering from the afflicted being. So somewhere in the process of growing up, these lines hit very hard. You have to be self-sufficient, and what is the if I don't want this and don't want this either, so what is the purpose of living here, and what is the purpose of life? Such type of question came to the young mind. Okay, so and the answer is also there, that we have to live for the others. Okay, you have to burn yourself to become the light in the other's life. So this is the motto, and this we used to live for that.
And in addition to such strong philosophical and what shall I say, spiritual lessons, which may not be fully appreciated or understood at that age of 14, 15, but at least as a seed, it may have got planted. Uh, but in addition to that, I think the school also takes pride, a lot of pride in imbibing lessons in language and literature, isn't it?
Yeah, you can say the Jharkhand biggest library is there in Netarhat. So there is a plethora of books you can read in terms of literature, arts, history, or the play is there. There are extra co-curricular activities there. Games is there, different kind of games, like from kho to volleyball to basketball or football, cricket, hockey. So and in literary field, like play is there, natak is there, debate is there, vad vivad pratogita is there. So there are number of activities in the whole year. You don't get bored easily. Okay, you actually you can't get bored um in Netarhat, because if there is some activity, or you can, if activity is not there, some the sunrises is there, the sunsets, or what else you can say, and some picturesque flora and fauna is there. So that is the Netarhat for you, like in the real sense, the Mallika of you can say Chota Nagpur.
You know, as you are, as I was listening to what you have just said, I went back down memory lane in my own growing up years when I was probably in sixth standard, eighth standard or so. Of course, I never went to a residential school. I went to a day school. I was, of course, living with my parents in Mumbai city and going to my school called Shardashram Vidya Mandir in Dadar in Mumbai. And for me, books was a gateway to a very different world. And I remember that if I'm doing nothing, I'm actually reading books. Even khana khate waqt bhi, I would have a book next to me and I would read as an 8-year-old, 10-year-old. It could be, of course, much of the reading at that time was story books. And though my school was an English medium school, at home we speak Marathi language. And for some reason or the other, I had fascination for Hindi too. Uh, so I used to read a lot of story books in Hindi, in English, in Marathi. And now this could be around mythology, it could be about history, it could be fiction. I mean, no subject, was left untouched. And for me, the world of stories and world of books is how I grew up. And of course, that love has continued even today. So I was wondering, when you say that Netherhart School had the largest library in the state of Jharkhand, and with somebody like you, and at such a school which is located at a amidst nature, what sort of books attracted you? Who were the authors that you were attracted to, and what sort of literature you studied, whether it is in Hindi or whichever language?
At that age, like you said, that we mostly fascinated to the stories type of book.
Ji.
Okay, so Premchand was there, uh, Seva Sadan Godan and Mansarovar or something like that, and Gunaho Ka Devta was there. So and Rasmi Rathi is there, and Madhushala was there. Like we don't that time we did not get the like usual meaning, or you can say the depth meaning. But yeah, we used to read a lot these type of books, and we were recommended by our seniors or teachers that time. Yeah, this is the good book you can go through, or this is the play you can prepare for your competition, because there was competition for Hindi play also. So we have to go through in preparing the play part. So yeah, so in play like Asar ka ek din was there, and Konark was there. So yeah, we used to read a lot by our interest, not by large of our interest, but also by the recommendation of our seniors or our teachers.
Bhanu, in my schooling years, and I don't know why, whether I was mentally ready or not, I don't know, but I read a Hindi natika. I think I was 10th standard, 16 years old that time. I don't know how it came into my possession, who gave it to me, I don't recall at all. हिंदी में एक साहित्यिक हुआ करते थे जिनका नाम था शंकर शेष. I think he was a professor of Hindi in, I think, Allahabad University or some such place. And this was a play he had written called Ek Aur Dronacharya. बड़ी प्यारी नाटिका थी. And of course, when you grow up, you also, you read a lot of Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? So I think every kid in India, before he has or she has left the school, they know the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata, and of course Mahabharata is what attracts most of us. तो एक और द्रोणाचार्य जो शंकर शेष जी ने लिखी थी, जो उस वक्त तो पता नहीं चला, but it was actually a lesson in ethics. I didn't realize it at that point in time, but later on, of course, I've read it many times thereafter. I mean, the story goes of Ek Aur Dronacharya is about a professor in a college who catches one of his students cheating in an exam. पर्ची वर्ची उस लड़की ने लेके आई थी, तो उस लड़की को कॉपी करते वक्त इस प्रोफेसर ने पकड़ा होगा. And then he complained, and he of course asked her to stop writing that paper, and then he complained to the principal that she has to be suspended for a year for doing this cheating, because that was the rule of the school. he never knew that this girl whom he had caught was the daughter of the principal trustee of the school. And then, of course, the play goes on and says that the professor had only two choices, let go of this cheating and save his job, or ensure that this girl is punished as per the rules. But because she was the daughter of the principal trustee of the school, he would be sacked and he would lose his job. And he is an extremely, extremely poor man. ये कॉलेज की जो आमदनी उनको आती थी, वो छोड़ के उनके पास एक दहला भी नहीं था. घर में बहुत मुश्किल से 2 वक्त की रोटी मिलती थी सबको. घर में उनकी पत्नी थी, 2 बच्चे थे. बट इतनी गरीबी थी कि अगर ये जॉब चली जाए उनकी, तो कल सुबह का खाना कहाँ से मिले, यहाँ तक की नौबत थी. और उनकी पत्नी के साथ उनका चर्चा होती है और पत्नी कहती है कि छोड़ो, ये जो प्रिंसिपल्स एंड वैल्यूज है, नैतिकता है, उसको बाजू में छोड़ो और अपना जॉब करो. Or parallelly in that book, Shankar Sheshji gives the story of the conversation between Dronacharya and his wife before he became the guru of Pandav and Kauravas, where he was an extremely poor man. आपको पता होगा कि अश्वत्थामा जब बच्चे थे, उनको दूध पीना था तो घर में दूध भी नहीं था. तो सत्तू के आटे में वो पानी में घोल के उनकी माँ उनको दूध की तरह पिलाती है. And then he ends up taking the job of the teacher of Pandav and Kaurav. And of course, he's that way not a very fair person. I mean, what he did to Eklavya and others, we all know. So literature, whether it is any language in India, whether it is Marathi or Gujarati or Bengali or Tamil or even Hindi, there is tremendous lessons in life they leave behind, is what I feel. And I always believe that language is a vehicle for us to think, right? You can't have thoughts without words, and words come from language. So thoughts or thinking or feelings, which has to be expressed in some language, cannot happen without literature or language. That is the importance of language and literature, the way I look at it. I don't know how you look at it, Bhanu, because you are a writer, you are a poet. I'll come to that in a moment. But what does language mean to you?
Yeah, so basically language is you can say the medium of communication. Okay, it can be like some like eye movement is there. Maybe there was some eye movement, or you can say the expression. And in college we used to play the the mime was there. Mime was like you don't have to say even a word, and you have to express with your actions, or you can say the facial expression, or from the hand movement. So for me, the language means the medium of communication. Okay, it can be anything. Okay, some in that way only. So yeah, so as you correctly said that language somewhere it is the expression of feeling is also there.
आप कवि कब और कैसे बने?
I can't tell the exactly. In fact, no one can tell the exact date or time when he or she became the poet or the writer.
पहली
But yeah, somewhere
कविता कब बनी आपकी? क्या लिखा था आपने?
पहली कविता पहली कविता आई थिंक नेतरहाट में ही बनी थी. तो जो वहाँ की ब्यूटी थी, वहाँ के जो सनराइज सनसेट वाटरफॉल्स जो एंड फौना, तो उसको देख के मतलब कुछ लिखी थी ऐसे ही. मतलब आई ट्राई टू यू नो द राइम द वर्ड only that time. That time this much only.
आपकी किताब असर होने तक, which is a collection of about 50 of your poems in Hindi, which is available on Amazon. I was looking at some of the reviews of some readers who have read this book, and I'm going to read right now a review written by a person who goes by the name Prabhat Kumar. प्रभात कुमार जी ने आपकी ये जो कविता की पुस्तिका है असर होने तक पढ़ने के बाद ये 2 लाइनें आपके बारे में लिखी है। प्रभात कुमार जी लिखते हैं, आंख में नमी, दिल में तूफान दबाए बैठे हो, अंगार सांसों में और खून में गर्मी छुपाए बैठे हो। तो क्या कह रहे हैं प्रभात कुमार जी आपके बारे में?
या मतलब बिल्कुल सही उन्होंने कहा कि मतलब ये तो मतलब हर एक किसी पोएट या राइटर के साथ होता है कि वो थोड़ा मतलब मेनली फोकसेस ऑन ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड वो जो मोमेंटम होता है उसको पहले वो स्टोर करते हैं अपने अंदर में, जो भी फीलिंग्स है उसको स्टोर करते हैं पहले, उसको थोड़ा आराम से उसको ये प्रोसेस होने देते हैं अंदर में, जो भी चीज़ें, जो भी आपकी ऑब्जर्वेशन या जो भी आपने देखा है, और फिर एज द टाइम कम्स तो वो एक्सप्रेस करते हैं राइटिंग के थ्रू। तो आई थिंक उनके कहने का मतलब यही है शायद।
तो भानु, मैं आपकी असर होने तक पुस्तिका में जो आपके करीब 50 कविताओं का एक संग्रह है, इसमें जो 27 नंबर की कविता है वो मैं अब पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ। एंड व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू डू इज इनवाइट यू टू शेयर कि ये कविता कैसी हुई और आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं। सो लेट मी स्ट्रेट अवे रीड दिस पोएम टू यू राइट अवे। पड़ी है एक चिट्ठी बरसों से मेरे पास, पीली होती जा रही है ये बिल्कुल मेरी तरह। रंग तो उसका भी पीला पड़ गया होगा जिसके नाम लिखी गई थी ये, उसके पते तक मगर कभी पहुंची नहीं। मुमकिन है कि पता बदल लिया हो, या फिर उसके हाथ पीले कर दिए गए हो, या फिर हाथ पीले होने की वजह से ही पता बदलना पड़ा हो। हाँ, पता बदलना पड़ा हो क्योंकि खुद से नहीं चाहता कोई अपना पता बदलना, और ऐसे वक्त में तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं जब उसे इंतजार हो किसी चिट्ठी का। सच कहूं तो मुझे नफरत है पीले रंग से। मुझे हरा रंग बेहद पसंद है। हरी पत्तियां, हरा सिग्नल, हरा सावन, उसका हरा वाला सूट। काश उसके हाथ भी पीले नहीं हरे कर दिए गए होते, जैसे समाज करता है हम लड़कों के। तो चिट्ठी का पीलापन थोड़ा कम होता, तो मेरा पीलापन थोड़ा कम होता, तो उसका पीलापन थोड़ा कम होता, तो दुनिया का पीलापन थोड़ा कम होता। क्या
तो
क्या कहना चाहते हैं इस कविता के माध्यम से आप?
पहले तो मैं आपका शुक्रिया करना चाहूँगा कि आपने ये कविता बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ी और मुझे इसको डिस्क्राइब करने को बोला है। तो मैं दर्शकों को बताना चाहूँगा कि इसमें बेसिकली 3 भाव इसमें कंबाइंड हैं। पहली जो फीलिंग है वो अ, एक सेपरेशन वाली फीलिंग है कि 2 लोग हैं जो किसी रिलेशनशिप में हैं या ये हैं, वो अलग हो रहे हैं। और दूसरा एक मेरा ये पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू था कि सोसाइटी में मैं जब भी देखता था, वैसे मेरी कोई सिस्टर है नहीं, बट जब भी मैं देखता था कि लड़की विदा होके जा रही है दूसरे घर में, तो वो थॉट कहीं न कहीं मतलब मेरे अंदर बैठ गया कि हाँ, अगर ऐसा है तो क्यों ऐसा है? ऐसा क्यों नहीं हो रहा है कि लड़के ब्याह करके क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं इधर? या फिर ज़रूरी ये तो ज़रूरी नहीं कि मतलब हम लोग एक-दूसरे के यहाँ जाएँ ही, कोई कॉमन प्लेस भी तो हो सकता है, या मतलब कुछ इस तरह की चीज़ थी। तो दूसरा थॉट वो था। तीसरा थॉट ये था कि जब भी हम किसी से मिलते हैं या बिछड़ते हैं, तो क्या सही में हम मिलते हैं या सही में हम बिछड़ते हैं? क्योंकि बिछड़ना सिर्फ़ वहीं तक नहीं होता है। बिछड़ने के लिए हमें इमोशंस के लेवल पे, थॉट के लेवल पे डिटैच्ड होना पड़ता है, और वो कम्प्लीटली कभी नहीं हो पाता है। तो कहीं न कहीं ऐसा होता है कि हम कहने को या लिखने को तो वैसा बोल देते हैं या कह देते हैं कि हाँ, बिछड़ रहे हैं या ऐसा हो रहा है, बट हम लोग कभी बिछड़ते नहीं हैं दरअसल, अगर देखा जाए तो। तो ये 3 जो भाव थे, आप बोल सकते हो कि ये 3 भाव को मिला के, और इसमें थोड़ी बहुत हकीकत और थोड़ा बहुत फ़िक्शन यूज़ करके जो है, और कलर के कॉम्बिनेशन को यूज़ करके ये कविता मैंने लिखी थी।
तो हकीकत क्या है? क्योंकि आपके इस कविता संग्रह में शुरुआत में आपने एक आभार किया है कुछ लोगों का,
जी,
जिससे मैं पढ़ना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि इस कविता से लेके कुछ मुझे उस आभार के पंक्तियों में भी कुछ आसार नजर आए।
जी, जी।
आपने आभार किया है ये कहते हुए कि ढेर सारा प्यार उस लड़की को जिसके इनकार ने स्याही के रंग को और गाढ़ा कर दिया। तो कहीं
जी।
इस कविता के माध्यम से आप उस बिछड़े हुए प्यार के बारे में जो अपना खुद का था, अनुभव था, उसके बारे में तो कुछ नहीं कहना चाहते?
जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही पकड़ा है। मतलब कहीं न कहीं मैं ये भी कन्वे करना चाहता था कि हाँ, कुछ ऐसा हुआ है। और जैसा कि मेरा मानना है कि एक जो कोई भी आर्टिस्ट है, नॉट ओनली कि राइटर या पोएट, तो उसके लाइफ में बहुत सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, लोग हैं जो कहीं न कहीं उसको एज़ अ आर्टिस्ट उसको और ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाते हैं, और ज़्यादा कि उसके आर्ट को और एनहांस करते हैं। कुछ वैसी घटनाएँ होती हैं, कुछ ऐसे हैपनिंग्स होते हैं, कुछ कोई ऐसा प्लेस होता है या कोई वैसा व्यक्ति विशेष होता है, जो कि आपके आर्ट को कहीं न कहीं और एक अलग लेवल पे लेके जाता है। तो मेरे केस में शायद वो लड़की वो पॉइंट थी कि अगर शायद उसने मतलब अगर हाँ मतलब दैट टाइम लगता था कि हाँ या ना मतलब एक बड़ी चीज़ हो, ये हाँ करना या ना करना एक मतलब बहुत बड़ी बात हो गई। लेकिन अभी इस फेज़ में लगता है कि हाँ या ना कहना बड़ी बात नहीं है। बड़ी बात ये है कि अगर उसने हाँ कह दिया होता, तो शायद वो लिखने में जो पैनापन है, या जो बोल सकते हो कि आप अ, जो कहीं न कहीं वो मॉइस्चर है, जो फीलिंग्स है, जो एग्ज़ैक्ट आती है, तो मतलब उसके नाम में वो चीज़ ज़्यादा आई। नाम में मैं ज़्यादा मतलब उसको अच्छे से एक्सप्रेस मतलब भाव ज़्यादा अच्छे से एक्सप्रेस कर पाया कंपैरेटिव टू अगर उसने हाँ कह दिया होता। तो इसलिए मैंने उसको थैंक्स भी बोला है कि हाँ, मतलब आपकी वजह से कहीं न कहीं मतलब एज़ अ राइटर आपके ना ने, आपके इनकार ने मतलब बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि मतलब ना सुनते ही लोग पागल हो जाते हैं, ना सुन के बौखला जाते हैं मतलब। तो मतलब मैं भी शुरू में हुआ था ऐसा ही, लगा था कि मतलब क्या हुआ, ज़मीन खिसक गई, आसमान उड़ गया, क्या हो गया? बट जैसे-जैसे टाइम बीतते गया, कहीं न कहीं ये रियलाइज़ हुआ कि नहीं, मतलब इसके लिए उसको मतलब थैंक्स बनता है, क्योंकि कहीं न कहीं उसके इस डिसीज़न ने अ, मतलब मेरे राइटर बनने में या मेरे पोएट बनने में या मेरे फीलिंग्स को और ज़्यादा अच्छे से एक्सप्रेस करने में बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले किया है। तो इसलिए मतलब दिल दिल से उसका थैंक्स है, मतलब कि हाँ, उसने ना कहा।
तो कहीं ये तो बात नहीं कह रहे हो आप भानु जी की नाकामयाब आशिक एक अच्छा कवि बनता है, ना कि एक कामयाब आशिक?
हाँ, मतलब इश्क में ऐसा कुछ कामयाब या नाकामयाब जैसा कुछ होता नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से। और इसे मैंने एक और अपनी जो कविता है उसमें भी इस चीज़ को लिखा है कि हारना हद नहीं, जीतना मंजिल नहीं, चलना ही तो है, जलना ही तो है, मचलना ही तो है, यही तो है मेरा इश्क आधा सा, पूरे इश्क से कमतर ही सही, फिर भी मेरी मानो तो वो इश्क अधूरा रहने दो। तो हम समझ सकते हैं कि इश्क में ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता कि आप ना बोल दिया तो आप असफल हो गए, या हाँ बोल दिया तो सफल हो गए, या किसी के साथ अगर अगर साथ में है तो वो सफल कहा जाएगा, या वही यही तो बात है इसकी ना, यही तो खूबी है कि इसमें कुछ बाइनरी जैसा नहीं होता, 0 1 जैसा नहीं होता है। हम लोग कहीं ना कहीं बीच में झूल रहे होते हैं। तो ये कहना कि एक नाकामयाब आशिक एक अच्छा कलाकार या पोएट हो सकता है, या कोई भी आर्टिस्ट हो सकता है, इसके कहने के बजाय मैं ये कहना पसंद करूंगा कि आर्ट की जरूरत ही तब होती है जब वहां पे एक गैप फिल हो। मतलब वहां पे एक गैप अगर हो, तभी उसको फिल करने के लिए आर्ट का यूज करते हैं। आप बड़े से बड़े आर्टिस्ट को देख लो, तो आर्ट का यूज ही एक्चुअली यही है कि वो फीलिंग्स के तौर पे कहीं गैप हो, या इमोशनली गैप हो कहीं पे, या कहीं भी मतलब लग रहा हो कि किसी भी तरह का गैप हो, तो आर्ट का यूज उसी सेंस में किया जाता है। तो मैं इस बात से ज्यादा इत्तेफाक रखूंगा कि जो जो भी आर्टिस्ट है वो अपने गैप को फील करने के लिए, मतलब जरूरी नहीं है कि वो ना की वजह से ही हो। आपने देखा कि मतलब बहुतों के केस में, हाँ के केस में भी वो गैप बन जाता है।
हम्म,
तो उसको भी फिल करने के लिए वो करते हैं कि
हिंदी साहित्य में बहुत सारे लेखक और कवि हो चुके हैं। उनमें से कुछ मैंने पढ़े हैं, कुछ के बारे में सुना है, और कुछ की कविताएं कहीं से सुनी है। बहुत सारा मैं भूल चुका हूँ, लेकिन कुछ कवियों की कुछ पंक्तियाँ जहन में इस तरह बैठ गई है कि पता नहीं, भूलना चाहूँ तो भी भूल नहीं सकता। तो वैसे एक कवि है दुष्यंत कुमार जी, शायद आपने उनका लिखा पढ़ा होगा। तो
जी जी बिल्कुल।
जिनको दुख से जरूरत से ज्यादा लगाव है, और उन जिन लोगों ने दुख को इतना अपना लिया है, उनके बारे में दुष्यंत कुमार जी की ये जो चार पंक्तियां हैं, वो पता नहीं मेरे दिलो दिमाग में ऐसी बैठ गई हैं कि हमारी ये बातें चल रही है तो मुझे, मैं अपने आप को रोक नहीं पा रहा हूँ। तो अगर आप इजाजत दे तो मैं दुष्यंत कुमार जी की ये चार पंक्तियां सुनाना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि
जी जी
उन्होंने
बिल्कुल।
उन लोगों के बारे में लिखा है जिन्होंने दुख को जरूरत से ज्यादा अपनाया है। तो
जी।
दुष्यंत कुमार, और इन पंक्तियों के बारे में आपका भी मैं कुछ विचार सुनना चाहूंगा भानु जी।
हम्म,
दुष्यंत कुमार जी कहते हैं कि दुख को बहुत सहेज कर रखा हमने, सुख तो किसी कपूर की टिकिया सा उड़ गया। दुख को बहुत सहेज कर रखा हमने, सुख तो किसी कपूर की टिकिया सा उड़ गया। अब सबसे पूछता हूं मैं कि कमबख्त कौन था जो मेरी जगह जिया।
जी दुष्यंत कुमार को मैंने भी काफी पढ़ा है, और मतलब आप बोल सकते हो कि कहीं ना कहीं मतलब उनसे काफी इंस्पायर्ड भी रहा हूँ। और जहाँ तक इन पंक्तियों का सवाल है, तो मेरी जहाँ तक इस पे राय बनती है वो ये है कि कोई भी आदमी होता है वो स्ट्रगल से ही बनता है। अपने स्ट्रगल वाले दिन में ही वो और कुछ निखर के आता है। जैसे एक लाइन है रश्मि रथी की कि वर्षों तक वन में घूम घूम बाधा विघ्नों को चूम चूम सहधूम धाम पानी पत्थर पांडव आए कुछ और निखर। तो वही हम लोग ह्यूमन के फेज में या लाइफ में भी होता है कि अगर आप जितना ज्यादा वो स्ट्रगल वाली चक्की में पिसोगे, जितना ज्यादा संघर्ष आप देखोगे, जितना ज्यादा आप लो फेज देखोगे, आप उतना ही अ, उतना ही विक्टोरियस, या उतना ही और अच्छे से आप उभर के आओगे। आपका एक अलग कैरेक्टर बन के आएगा। वो कैरेक्टर जो कि विपरीत परिस्थितियों में घबराता नहीं है, वो और फाइट करता है, फाइट बैक करता है, और वो निखर के आता है। जैसे सोना है वो तपता है, तो कुछ वो और कुछ निखर के आता है। तो अ, इन पंक्तियों के माध्यम से शायद मैं इसलिए यूज कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि कवि की हू बहू भावनाओं को पकड़ना मतलब अपने आप में एक असंभव सा कार्य है। तो शायद यही कहना चाह रहे हैं कि मतलब उस वक्त आदमी कुछ और होता है जब वो स्ट्रगल कर रहा होता है, स्ट्रगल के फेज से चल रहा होता है। ठीक है। और जैसे ही वो सुख का फेज आता है वो आदमी भूल जाता है कि हाँ मतलब मैं यहाँ पे था और इस तरह का स्ट्रगल था और मैंने यहाँ भी सरवाइव किया है। तो वही बोल रहे हैं कि ये कौन था जो कि मतलब इतना ये कर गया। तो कहीं ना कहीं वो मतलब हमारा इनर स्ट्रेंथ बोल लो या इनर जो पावर सोर्स है वो बोल लो, कि मतलब जब भी स्ट्रगल का फेज आता है या संघर्ष का दौर आता है तो उसमें आदमी और उभर कर सामने आता है, निखर कर सामने आता है।
Let me ask you at this final stage of our conversation that here you are, a young Indian in your late 20s, having come a long way uh, as a person, and still there's so much more to go. I would like to believe that your journey has only begun. What I would like to know from you, Bhanu, is when you, as a young Indian, look at India of today and its place in the world that exists today, um, what is it that you see?
Okay, so as a country, we are developing very fast, and uh, we in India, like 50% of the population is youth, and we can really utilize our youth forces to become number one, or you can say in the most influential country right now. So yeah, you can say that the cost of living is somewhat is very good or very less compared to other country, and we are doing good in the sports field, you can say, or in the economy field we are doing much better comparative to the previous years. Okay, so in infrastructure we are also performing well in infrastructure, we are in top position in the context of ease of doing business. So it is becoming manufacturing hub for all of the country. Okay, so on the, you can say, the health infrastructure field, we are somewhere not up to the mark, you can say. In the recent time the COVID happened, and we all know that the situation had become very worse, and we had lost so many lives. So somewhere we can improve our healthcare services or infrastructure, you can say. And in the meanwhile, we can also control our population, you can say. We are very populous country, second in the world. So but we have our limited resources, and as you can see, the opportunity is there in India. We are developing country, so the chances of economic activity is much more high than other countries. If we talk about international relations, so somewhere apart from our neighboring country, our relationship with all the, you can say, with UNO, or you can say some grouping like BRICS or whatever the groups. So our position is somewhat we are in the good position, or in one or two group we dictate our term to like what we believe. So yes, uh, uh, as we know that the uh, youth percentage is like almost half, so we have to focus on that, and we have to preserve our Vedic scripture or culture or art form. We can utilize that art form in a new way or a new fashion. Okay, so we can learn a lot from that thing. So yeah, the chances of improvement is high, and we are really on that point. Okay, so as I mentioned, if we focus on one or two point, like health infrastructure or population, then we can really yeah, become the uh, epitome of the development.
What a beautiful note to end this conversation, Bhanu. Thank you so much for sharing about yourself, about the committed, dedicated, tax officer that you are in the government of India's income tax department. At the same time, you are a very sensitive person, and through your poetry, you are expressing yourself till such time, as you say, Asar hone tak. And let me read out another poem of yours to end this conversation. This is your very first poem in your book. It's a short one, and it goes like this. ये किस बात का बदला लिया जा रहा है, तन्हाई बांटने वालों को तन्हा किया जा रहा है, जमाने को लगता है नशा किया जा रहा है, हमें लगता है गम हल्का किया जा रहा है, हर एक जख्मों पर लब मुस्कुराते जाते हैं, दोस्ती से अब के हमला किया जा रहा है, इंसानियत है, मोहब्बत है, दोस्ती है, परिवार है, बेफिजूल खुदा का सजदा किया जा रहा है, जीते जी तो किसी की गिनती में नहीं आते, मरने के बाद जलसा किया जा रहा है. तो भानु जी, ऑल आई विल से इज, जीते जी आपको पता चले या ना चले, आप अनेक अनेक लोगों की गिनतियों में हो और रहोगे. तो wish you good luck. Have a great life ahead. And once again, thank you very much for coming on this podcast. And I would like to ask you, how has this conversation been for you?
Sir, first of all, I don't know how to thank you and Asha ma'am and the whole Wings podcast team. मतलब आपने इस लायक समझा कि मैं यहाँ पे आके मतलब आप लोगों से बातें कर सकूं और आपके ऑडियंस से इंटरेक्ट कर सकूं. सो इट वाज very very nice feeling, and yeah, it was like कि it was nothing like some podcast that I thought earlier. Like it was basically a conversation between two persons. So it was a really amazing experience, I can say.
Thank you very much for being a part of this experience, and thank you for making this experience. Wish you good luck. Take care and stay safe. Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75@gmail.com. Thank you.